Hi, welcome to my art channel. Today we'll be creating this beautiful painting using gouache. The first thing that I'm doing is creating a nice background. So I'm taking like this nice cadmium yellow or like a lemon yellow and a mix of lemon yellow and maybe a little bit of cadmium yellow and a very light version of it, not a very creamy version, a light version to create the background, and I've let it dry. So because it has dried, you can now see how the texture looks really nice and very beautiful. So this is the beauty in gouache. You don't have to worry about how you create your background. It will take its shape once you let it dry. So I'm going to now mix some amount of white in some red to get like a beautiful pastel color, and we'll create some nice flowers with it. Using simple brush strokes, I'm creating these petals, and all around. It does not matter how many petals you're going to create. This is a very abstract version of flowers that I'm creating today. So feel free to create any style of the petals that you want and any number of flowers that you want all around. I'm also going to be creating them in different sizes, so it helps to create a very beautiful pattern and it looks very aesthetic for the eye. This is going to be in random places, like I said. You could also create them in very specific places. You could just create like a grid system and have specific spots and create your flowers around over there. That is also another way of doing that. This is also a very good exercise for the hand to build muscle memory for petals and for creating leaves in this style. So I would highly recommend you to go ahead with it, even if it does not come out perfectly the first time. Like you can see from my first flower to my fourth one, this looks much better. It's only because it's your hand is slowly getting the hang of it. It's developing muscle memory, and over time it'll become so easy for you that you'd be able to create hundreds of these in different sizes using different kinds of brushes. I'm happy now with the kind of flowers that I've created. I'm going to now create some leaves or some petals. So I'm going to take some green right now, mix it with a little bit of white, and create a nice beautiful color. And I'm going to create lots of leaves with this. So I'm using a very similar technique of making my brush sleep and then pulling it. So I call this like the sleep and wake up technique, where my brush is sleeping and then at the end I point it out. So you can use both the styles, either start from the point and then go to a larger area, or you could start from the bottom and then go to the tip. So whichever is easy for you. I've also noticed that a lot of people find it easier to rotate the book while you create these paintings, so feel free to do that. You don't have to have it in a specific stationary position. Again, for the leaves, I'm going very random in terms of how I'm creating them, the size of the leaves, and also the style. Like over here, I'm creating them with some kind of branches. Again, the branch is in green. I haven't changed the color, so the whole thing is basically in just two colors, and I'm trying to create a nice pattern using the entire thing. You'll also notice that with gouache, while it dries, it looks very different. So now that this basic thing is done, I'm going to let it dry and see how it looks. So once it dries, it gives you a completely different look, and it gives you a very good idea of how the final product is going to be. So what I'm doing right now is taking slightly darker green, and I'm going to create these lines inside the leaves or in the center for the petals. And when this green would dry, it will dry much slightly more darker, or depending on how much of water and color that you have taken. So I feel like the darker colors dry lighter and the lighter colors dry much brighter. So it creates a very beautiful blend of colors that way. The brush that I'm using is also a miniature brush by Bristro. This has a very good set of brushes in it. Some of them are also like of different sizes, like 4x0, 3x0. It makes it very useful for you to create really tiny details. The sketchbook over here is a square book by Lilo Roche. So I find this quite useful to do gouache as compared to watercolors, because it's not very thick to do watercolors. If you're going to do like a lot of layers, if you're going to do just like about 1 or 2 layers, it is still okay to use it for your watercolors. For gouache, it is pretty much okay, unless you're going to do like lots and lots of layers. In that case, you might need like a 300 GSM and above paper. It's very important when you're doing watercolors and your gouache to have very good quality paper, otherwise your final product is not going to come out very well. I really like how all the leaf details have come out. Now I'm going to create like these using brown. I'm going to create these tiny buds which will be there in the middle of my flower, and these are going to be just like lots of dots which are placed right next to each other. You could also create these buds using black, or even using like a pen directly if you want to. And if you don't want to create brown, feel free to use any color that you want. Experiment a lot, and that is what will improve your gouache. Layering is something which is very nice to do in gouache, so definitely give that a shot. Here I'm just mixing some lighter red, and I'm going to add that as details inside my petals. So you'll notice that towards the end these will dry out much brighter, which is why I'm not directly using a white, because that color will be too jarring. Now that the details inside are done, while that is drying, I'm going to use a black pigment liner, and I'm going to create some details on these flowers so that there is some kind of finishing effect that comes about it. Now with gouache and black ink, so this is something that you need to be careful about. It's not going to always work. It is only going to work if your gouache layers are not very thick. Like in this case today, I haven't used very thick gouache layers. They are very much, I would say, like medium, because I have used quite a bit of water, which is why my layers are not too thick and my pen is still fine on it. In case some days you use very thick layers of paint layering one on top of another, your black pigment liners are not going to work. In that case, you might have to still end up using a black paint, and you can use your brush. And it's not necessary always to do your black outline. It still looks pretty finished even without it. Personally, I just like experimenting a lot with these, hence I'm making that. If you like this tutorial, do subscribe to my channel, and you can also follow me on Instagram. Once you recreate paintings like these or anything else from my YouTube channel, then you can tag me on my Instagram page, so I'll be able to see what you've created. Hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and thank you very much.